Atlanta at Carolina. Is this just a case of you can't touch any Carolina players right now?
Yeah, they're toast. I, I can't quite remember the stat off the top of my head, but Bryce Young is barely throwing any passing touchdowns over the last month. He's had single-digit points in every game dating back to week 8, and that's because he's not throwing touchdowns. He's not moving the ball well enough, and part of that is on him, and part of it's also on those around him. But the Panthers, they're just embracing getting the hell out of Dodge. They're running the ball heavily. They want to wind the clock down, regardless of how many points they've got on the board. Last week, Bryce Young had a 36% completion rate. I can't even remember the last time I saw that from a starter. It's just abysmal. He had a high A dot. He was trying to drive the ball downfield. He had the fourth highest average depth of target in any game this year, 13.6 yards. But how much point is there driving the ball downfield when you can't complete simple passes? Like Jonathan Mingo has had a 27% target share in his last 5, but he's only caught 16 of 38 targets in that spell. He's been the wide receiver 60, 99, 39, 26, 72. That's not a player who you're going to start when you need to find a player who can give you performances. Adam Thielen, wide receiver 118, 51, 29 in the last 3. Even that doesn't feel like something that I want to deal with, particularly against the Falcons team, who we've been on this all season. They can take away your top option, and we saw it with Mike Evans last week, having his worst game of the season. The Falcons, they have a good safety in Jesse Bates. They have a good cornerback in AJ Terrell, and they're not afraid of putting 2 players in coverage on a top option. There is no way they need to do that against Adam Thielen because he just looks completely dust at this point. Chuba Hubbard, 25 for 96 last week. No touchdown. If he doesn't get touchdowns, he's not going to be relevant. And this Falcons team, they've got the 12th best run defense in DVOA. I don't think it's going to be particularly fruitful for them. But on the Falcons side, like last week was like a glimpse of Arthur Smith's worst nightmare. Kyle Pitts was involved. Drake London was involved. Bijan Robinson was involved. It was everything he doesn't want it to be. And it was good for fantasy. I mean, I faded Drake London last week, and he goes out and gets a career high 172 yards. Kyle Pitts scored a touchdown. I'd forgotten the last time that even happened. He's been a top 12 tight end in back-to-back weeks. He's not had over 60 yards since week 5, and that's the only time this year. But he's got 2 touchdowns. I feel like that's improvement for Kyle Pitts. So perhaps we're seeing a glimpse of what this could be like with more adventurous coaching. And this game, though, it all comes back to Bijan Robinson because he's been a top 12 running back in 3 of the last 4 games. And I've been banging on about this for absolutely weeks now, that the Panthers allow 1.4 rushing touchdowns per game to running backs. Nobody else in the league allows over more than 1.1. If Bijan, who is now the red zone option, it seems, and is getting that kind of volume, doesn't go crazy here, then I guess we can kind of put that down for the rest of the season because it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, Bijan's back to the top 3 option that we all drafted him to be and hoped he would be at the start of the season. Now, I want to talk to you. Let's put my Dynasty hat back on now. I want to talk to you about Bryce Young. Now, I watched the game. It was on my 3rd screen on Sunday. I thought Bryce Young had a good game. I went away and put the All-22 on, and I sat down and I watched it. And despite the stats being horrendous, I thought Bryce Young had one of his better games that he's played this year. He was pushing the ball downfield. He was hitting the receivers in the numbers time after time, making some impressive throws, threading the ball between defenders. And yet, the receivers let him down time and time again. I think the problem in this offense is not Bryce Young. If you are playing in Dynasty leagues, I think you can go out and buy low on Bryce Young. I saw him traded for 2 second-round picks last week. I think it's criminal the way people have turned on him. Let me throw some numbers at you, Tom, okay? When we talk about yards per route run, I appreciate this isn't an all-encompassing stat, but we're generally looking anything north of 2 is good. Anything under 1 is absolutely horrendous, abysmal, okay? The Panthers wide receiver options. These are any player that has run over 100 routes, okay? Adam Thielen, top at 1.61 yards per route run. Second, DJ Chark, 0.93. Third, Jonathan Mingo, 0.86. Fourth, Terrace Marshall, 0.68. You look at any stat, any film, whatever, Jonathan Mingo, DJ Chark, Terrace Marshall, none of them can get open. None of them can run routes. And that is the problem with this offense. That is going to change in this offseason. I can guarantee you one thing. Dave Tepper is not going to go down without swinging. He's going to give Bryce Young some options to hopefully allow him to be the franchise quarterback that they traded up to get. I think if you can go out and buy Bryce Young cheap in a Dynasty League right now, yes, he's probably not going to be the superstar that we all hoped he would be when we were drafting him 101, 102, whatever in your Dynasty League. But for the price of 2 seconds, maybe a late first, I think Bryce Young is an absolute steal because I think he is a good quarterback. He's just been absolutely destroyed by his situation. And you improve that next year, I think he could potentially bounce back.
Yeah, and I'll just say, like, the free agent wide receiver class and the potential cut casualties that are out there, it wouldn't take a lot for the Panthers to improve that wide receiver room. Give them a couple of veterans who can actually get open and be, serviceable. I think that the pass group that we see for him next year is going to be markedly better than this because, Tepper knows he has to put something around him. So I like that. I think, if you can get 2 seconds and swap them for Bryce Young, I'd be open to that.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I know that there's a lot of superstars at the wide receiver position in this draft, but there's some depth as well. I think they could potentially get a good option in the second or third.